If you know these 15 phrases, your English is advanced. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. In this lesson, you're going to see a sentence with a blank, and you'll have 4 choices. You need to choose the correct word to complete the sentence in 5 seconds. After you'll learn the correct expression, you'll see an example sentence, and you'll listen to natives using the expression. Are you ready? Question 1. In a second, everything changed. The correct answer is B, in a split second. This means very quickly or in an extremely short period of time. For example, I can't believe we were robbed. I was only gone for a split second. So to emphasize the very short period of time. Or you could say we made the decision in a split second. This could be a positive thing or a negative thing. Don't worry about taking notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description.
In a split second, he changed my life.
And in a split second, I had to make a decision.
He is going to get her, and a split second won't even stand between our union. That's how much he loves and longs and yearns to have his bride.
Question 2. Learning English with Jennifer is a real game. The correct answer is D, game changer. This is something that significantly alters the course or outcome of a situation. So what do you think? Do you think that learning English with Jennifer is a real game changer? It significantly changes how you learn English for the better? If you do, put that's right, put that's right in the comments. You could say that AI is a real game changer. Notice here I'm using real to emphasize. Or you could say electric cars could be a game changer for the environment.
It's a game changer when you're able to find the deep hidden stories that people are not sharing that can really unlock potential.
This is a game changer. Real game changer.
I can definitely see how that is a game changer because once it's commercially available, it will definitely change our lives.
Question 3, our project is in full. The correct answer is A, in full swing. If something is in full swing, it means it's at a stage when the level of activity is at its highest. For example, the party was in full swing, the most active, the most entertaining when we arrived, which is a great time to arrive. Or you could say now that the project is in full swing, we're at our highest level of activity, we can hire more consultants.
But then to be fair to Carter, once it's in full swing at Camp David, it's a different thing.
You know what else is in full swing are the Summer Olympics. After a year of waiting, they finally launched.
The 78th United Nations General Assembly is in full swing today.
Question 4, we need to complete the project by the book. This means by following established rules or procedures precisely. Everything they tell you to do in the book, the procedures, the rules, the manual, you do. For example, Jane does everything by the book. She follows every rule precisely. You can also use the verb to go and say Jane always goes by the book. Or you can use this as an adjective and say Jane is a very by-the-book person.
And so while I don't think I'm gonna stay as like a vegan by the book, I do plan to continue.
I will do it by the book, by the plan that God has ordained.
Everything else, it's gotta be completely by the book, completely cookie cutter.
Question 5, there's a line between confidence and arrogance. The correct answer is A, a fine line. This means that there's a small or subtle difference between two things, confidence, and arrogance. For example, there's a fine line between being persistent and being annoying. You can easily cross from one to the other. We also commonly use this with the verb walk. I have to walk a fine line between being friendly and being professional. So if you walk a fine line, it means you have to find a balance between these two things that can be easily confused.
There is only a fine line that separates us from one another.
But understand that there is a fine line between being a high achiever and a perfectionist.
Yeah, I think that the government walks a fine line when it gets involved in issues like that.
How are you doing so far? Question 6, you can't complete the entire project tonight. You need to yourself. You need to pace yourself, B. This means you need to control your speed or effort, but you're doing this to avoid exhaustion, becoming too tired before finishing a task. Because if you're exhausted, you won't finish. You might say pacing yourself, using that gerund expression, pacing yourself is key to working effectively because you need energy throughout your entire work period. Or you could say if you had paced yourself, the third conditional, if you had paced yourself, you wouldn't have burned out, become so exhausted that you could no longer work.
So what you need to do is you need to pace yourself.
But you need to pace it at a rate that they can receive it.
She said, pace yourself. I'm going to need you later.
Question 7, she tends to a grudge for a long time. D, hold a grudge. This is when you maintain negative feelings, a grudge, negative feelings, towards someone for something that happened in the past. We often use this in the negative. You shouldn't hold a grudge against your cousin. Or you could say it's hard to work with him because he holds a grudge over the smallest things.
Like I said, the dude knew how to hold a grudge.
You can never hold a grudge in Silicon Valley. Just always smile and say, I'll take your check. Thank you very much.
Nobody's upset.
She doesn't hold a grudge, and neither do you.
No.
Question 8, I had a, she would get the promotion. A, I had a hunch. This is a feeling or intuition about something without concrete evidence. For example, I had a hunch, I had a feeling the flight would be canceled, but there was no concrete evidence. Or you could say, I always trust my hunches.
Do you have a hunch that someone likes you?
I don't know why, but I have a hunch about you. You seem like you're going to be a really good waffle maker.
I mean, I think I do have a hunch that this misallocation point is quite important.
Question 9, you've made your, now let's move on. D, you've made your point. This means you've expressed your opinion or perspective. For example, he made a point about the importance of teamwork. So he expressed his opinion, perspective, or argument. Or you could say, you made a great point in the meeting today.
First of all, you make a point about Medicare that's very important.
We would all make a point, and for somehow or other, you and I always agreed.
I wanted to make a point.
Question 10, Uncle Bob really pushes my... He pushes my buttons. This is to provoke or annoy someone intentionally on purpose. Someone might say, I know he pushes your buttons, but you shouldn't hold a grudge. Or you could say, I don't know why, but Steve really pushes my buttons.
It's because this really pushes my buttons, and I haven't learned these skills yet.
So probably injustice is what pushes my buttons.
Someone who pushes your buttons.
You're doing such a great job. Question 11, much to my flight was canceled. Much to my chagrin. Repeat after me, chagrin. chagrin. This means to one's disappointment or regret. You could say, my husband doesn't like jazz, much to my chagrin. So you're expressing your disappointment perhaps because you love jazz. Notice here it came at the very end. You can start a sentence with this and say, much to our chagrin, the client changed the project timeline. I'm very disappointed.
Now, much to our chagrin, the United States doesn't have uniform elections laws, and there's a reason for this.
Much to our chagrin, productivity has stopped growing rapidly and is back to about 1.5% a year.
So much to my chagrin, I spent the next week studying.
Question 12, I hope the movie lives up to the hype, If something lives up to the hype, it means it meets expectations or delivers as promised. So this is the expectation and this is the reality. So you could say the movie lived up to the hype, met our expectation, delivered as promised. Or you could say the movie didn't live up to the hype, much to our chagrin.
Past trade deals didn't always live up to the hype. Past deals didn't always live up to the hype.
The big question I have is, can it live up to the hype?
Question 13, the company is on the of a major breakthrough. On the precipice. Repeat after me, precipice, precipice. This is when you're about to do something that may have a lot of success or a lot of failure. For example, he's on the precipice of a big decision about his career. This decision could bring a lot of success or a lot of failure. You could say, I started my business on the precipice of a recession.
You know, Massachusetts was just on the precipice of having nice springtime weather, and then Mother Nature was like, psych!
Standing on the precipice of possibility, we pause to be present to this very moment.
We were on the precipice of a disaster, as I understand it.
Question 14, the competition is gaining. We need to take things up a notch, This means to make something more intense, more advanced, more exciting. For example, let's take this project up a notch by adding more features. That will make it more exciting. Now, we commonly use the verb kick. Let's kick this up a notch.
Today, I think I'm going to take things up just a notch.
We're there, but we need to take it up a notch.
They kicked that up a notch too, by the way.
Question 15, she gave us a peek of her new song. A sneak peek. This is a quick or early preview of something not publicly available. For example, the director gave the media a sneak peek of the movie before its official premiere. They saw a small part, but not the full thing. Or the company shared a sneak peek of their new product at the trade show.
Here's your sneak peek without the top, of course.
I'm going to give you a sneak peek at where we're going in the next 8 weeks.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that little sneak peek.
How many did you get right? Share your score in the comments, and even if it was 0, think of everything you learned. Make sure you like this lesson, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And how well do you know these 15 words? Watch it right now.